Hello friends and welcome back to the course. In this section, we will dive deep into object-oriented paradigm and understand its four major concepts, namely abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. If I must describe each of these concepts in just one sentence, then for abstraction I will say eliminate the irrelevant and amplify the essential. Encapsulation means hiding the unnecessary. Inheritance helps in modeling the similarities, while polymorphism means same function, different behavior. Remember, I said we will be diving deep into object-oriented paradigm, and just a single sentence definition doesn't help much in understanding these concepts. So let's take each one of them at a time and try to understand them in detail. We will start with abstraction. Abstraction refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details or explanations. The core things here are essential features and not including background details. Let's first try to understand the essential features part. Consider this example where a lady has brought her pet cat to a vet for treatment. Let's see the cat from the vet's point of view. What are the essential features of a cat for the vet? Vet's objective is to examine the cat and diagnose any health issues the cat is having. So for the vet, the essential thing is the body structure of the cat. Vet is interested in different body parts of the cat like heart, lungs, stomach, kidney, intestine, liver, bladder to ensure everything is functioning perfectly and the cat is healthy. Some of the features that are irrelevant to the vet are what is the favorite toy of the cat, what food the cat likes the most, or what is the color of the cat's bed, etc. These things are of little help to diagnose any health problems the cat is having, so they are mostly irrelevant to the vet. Now, let's see the cat from the lady's point of view. Some of the essential features here will be cat's favorite toy, favorite food, color of cat's bed. Because cat is the lady's pet, everything that makes the cat feel happy is essential to the lady. On the other hand, things like anatomy of the cat, scientific names of cat's body parts, etc. are irrelevant to the lady, as these things doesn't help the lady to make her cat feel happy. So now I hope you have a better sense of how essential information depends upon the problem at hand. Depending on the problem domain, we need to eliminate the irrelevant and amplify the essential. There were two core parts in the definition of data abstraction. We have already looked at and understood the essential features part. Let's now try to understand hiding the background details part with the example of a switchboard. How do you switch on a light or fan in your room? Obviously, you go to the switchboard, press the required switch to turn on the light or fan. You don't worry about how that switch is turning the light on, what is the internal wiring, etc. Switchboard is hiding all such background details from you and providing you a very simple way to switch on or off the light. You encounter such examples of abstraction every day in your life. While driving a car, the driver presses accelerator to speed up the car and brakes to stop it. He doesn't worry about all the background details regarding how the engine is working, how the pistons in the engine are firing up at an increased RPM to speed up the car, or how the brakes are working to slow down and stop the car. All these details are hidden away from the driver and he is presented with two very simple interfaces, accelerator and brakes, to speed up and slow down the car. Such hiding of background details through abstraction is making our day-to-day lives simpler. Java supports data abstraction through abstract classes and interfaces. We will look into this a little bit later in this course. In object-oriented programming languages, encapsulation is used to refer to one of two related but distinct notions, and sometimes to the combination thereof. A language mechanism for restricting direct access to some of the object's components, a language construct that facilitates the bundling of data with the methods operating on that data. This is how Wikipedia defines encapsulation. It is a very bulky and complex definition of encapsulation. But don't worry. Over the course of this video, we will slowly unroll it so that by the end of the video, we have a pretty good grasp on this concept. For the purposes of our discussion, we will look at both properties which are defined under encapsulation. First one being restricting direct access to some of the object's components. Rephrasing it in a little bit simpler wording, it means hiding some of the implementation details from the outside world. This is also known as data hiding. The second point in the definition on facilitating bundling of data with methods means characteristics and behaviors are combined into a single unit. Let's look at an ATM. You go to the ATM, swipe your card, enter your PIN, and then enter the amount of money you want to withdraw. ATM processes your request and gives you the money. If you were to see ATM through object-oriented lens, you will realize that ATM contains different denomination of currency notes, and all the operations to read your debit card, verify your PIN, count currency notes, dispense the money to you, etc. ATM combines all the different denomination of currency notes and all the operations required to withdraw money into a single unit. You interact with this one machine which is wrapping all this together and very conveniently withdraw cash. Here ATM can be viewed as a class which is wrapping together the data which are the currency notes and methods which are the operations required to withdraw money into a single unit. In other words, we can say that ATM encapsulates money and operations required to withdraw it into a single unit. You can interact with the ATM only through the numeric keypad and the on-screen options it provides. You cannot access the details about internal data, like how much money does this ATM has, how many notes of each denomination are present, how much money has been withdrawn so far, etc. This is the data hiding concept of encapsulation. You might be a little confused at this point between abstraction and encapsulation, as I said something similar for abstraction too, that it hides the background details. In fact, abstraction and encapsulation are complementary concepts. Abstraction solves the problem at the design level, whereas encapsulation solves the problem at implementation level. Abstraction cares about what something does, but not how it does it. Encapsulation cares about how something does what it does, such that others only care about what it does. Going back to our ATM example, when I am designing the ATM, I will think about what steps the user needs to follow in order to withdraw money. I will list down that the user will swipe his card, enter PIN, enter amount, and finally collect cash. That's abstraction at work. I'm only focusing on things that are relevant from the user's point of view and eliminating all other stuff. Now, when I'm actually making that ATM, I will look at the design and go through the steps and think about how I should build this ATM so that the user can withdraw cash by just following these steps and not worrying about anything else. That's encapsulation. Hence, we can say that encapsulation is a way to implement data abstraction. Encapsulation hides the details of the implementation of an object. Java supports data encapsulation through classes and access specifiers, public, private, and protected. We will look into this a little bit later in this course. In this video, we will learn about polymorphism. The word polymorphism means having many forms. In object-oriented programming languages, polymorphism provides the means to perform a single action in multiple different ways. Let's take a look at an example. If you ask different animals to speak, they respond in their own way. Dog will bark, duck will quack, cat will say meow, and so on. So here you see, same action of speaking is performed in different ways by different animals. This is the concept of polymorphism. In Java, polymorphism is supported through two concepts: method overloading and method overriding. In both of these concepts, there is a function which shows different behaviors depending on its arguments or the object in the class hierarchy which is implementing it. Essentially, like our animal speak example, in programming, you can have the same method performing different things when called through different objects. Polymorphism, together with inheritance, enables us to model complex real-world systems in a scalable and maintainable way in software. All these concepts will become more concrete when we will start implementing them in programs in the Java section of this course. Thanks for taking this course, and I hope you are having a great time learning computer applications. I will see you in the next section. Bye for now. In this video, we will learn about inheritance. Inheritance enables new classes to receive or inherit the properties and methods of existing classes. In the world around us, we are surrounded with entities that are connected to each other with is-a relationship. The concept of inheritance helps us to model such is-a relationships in software. I know, right now you're a little confused with what is-a relationships I'm talking about. So, as always, let's look at some examples to develop more intuition about these is-a relationships and concretely understand inheritance. Take the example of traffic on the road. What this traffic consists of? There are cars, bikes, scooters, auto rickshaws, buses, trucks, etc. All of these have common characteristics and behavior. They can move on the road and transport people and goods from one place to another. These commonalities help us to categorize them under one common category called vehicles. Now we can say that car is a vehicle, bus is a vehicle, bike is a vehicle, auto is a vehicle, and so on. This is just one of the examples of is-a relationship around us. This helps us to conveniently say that there are many different types of vehicles on the road, rather than calling out each of the type separately. Building on it a little further, there are many different types of cars: i10, i20, XUV 500, Fortuner, etc. This is also an example of is-a relationship, where each one of these is a car. Similarly, for bikes, you may have a TVS Apache, Bajaj Pulsar, KTM Duke, or Harley Davidson, and each of them is a bike. You can extend this similarly for buses and trucks as well. I hope this helps you to see how we can use is-a relationship to categorize entities based on common characteristics and behavior. Also, most of the times these relationships are hierarchical, like we saw with vehicles, then cars, bikes, then the different models of these cars and bikes, etc. You can look around and find other such examples as well, like the different kind of animals. Dog is an animal, cat is an animal, goat is an animal, elephant is an animal. Of course, you can make it more hierarchical like this. We have a base class vertebrates for all the animals with a backbone. From there, we can derive a mammals class to group animals that have mammary glands, give live birth to young ones, have 3 middle ear bones, etc. Mammal is a vertebrate. Then, from mammals, we can derive specific examples of mammals like humans, whales, dog, monkey, etc. Each one of these human, whale, dog, monkey is a mammal. This is another example of hierarchical is-a relationship where whale, in addition to its own unique characteristics and behaviors, inherits all the characteristics and behavior of mammals and vertebrates. Similarly, we can expand it for birds, reptiles, fishes, and amphibians as well. Inheritance helps in adapting to changes in software. It helps in avoiding code duplication, as the common code can be put in a base class and shared with the derived classes. It also reduces the need for code manipulation. To implement a new functionality, we can always create a new derived class rather than modifying the code of the base class, which may impact the entire application. We will look into these concepts in detail when we cover them in the Java section.